I'm liking what Canon's doing with this whole hybrid type of lens for videographers and photographers alike. We saw it with the 24-105 f2.8 and now with the 35-1.4 VCM lens. Let's talk about it. Before we kick things off, big thanks to Canon Singapore for providing the lens, the 35 and the R5 for this review. With that said, these are my thoughts and my thoughts only. Now, we've been waiting for a faster aperture 35mm lens for a period of time since the 35-1.8 launched in 2018. People thought the 35-1.2 was going to be that lens, and I thought so too, right? 50-1.2, 85-1.2, and we're all saying, where's our 35-1.2? Canon said, hold your horses. They haven't said that the 35-1.2 is going to come out yet, but they gave us a 35-1.4, which replaces their EF lens, which a lot of people like that lens. Still hard to find on the secondhand market nowadays. They gave us that with some new technology when it comes to the autofocusing motors, the voice coil motors that paired with the USM motors. You're getting very fast, silent autofocusing performance. It's lightning quick. It's a sniper out there when you're taking photographs and video. It's awesome. By the way, this entire video is shot with the 35-1.4 VCM and the R5 respectively. So to give you an idea how it performs. One of the things I noticed, because you want to shoot a 1.4, you want to see how this performs, the bokeh, the sharpness, the fall off, all that comes into play. The sharpness in 1.4, it's sharp, but it's not overly sharp. Now, some people online were saying they wish they were sharper, et cetera, et cetera. Those may be photographers, but as someone that shoots video as well, you don't want something so sharp. You want to, of course you want sharp, you want to make sure you're in focus, but you don't want to be too sharp, especially when you're shooting people, because you want everybody to look as good as they can on camera. And when things are really sharp, you can see every pore, every imperfection, every line, every wrinkle. Then you need a diffusion filter to put on top of the lens. It's a whole other situation. But with cinema lenses, you notice they're not that sharp, but they got great fall off. You know, the colors are there. It all comes into play beautifully. And that's what I'm seeing out of this 35-1.4. Now, I primarily use it for photography for the most part. And I was happy with it. I love the bokeh. It's nice and creamy. It's got as I mentioned, great fall off to it. I was very, very happy with that. Now, when you do stop it down, it does get sharper. But for the most part, it's a really good performing lens wide open. And there's a little bit of chromatic aberration, a little bit of green fringing coming in play. When you shoot against light or more contrast situations, you're going to see a little bit of that creep in. And at times it's there and at times it's not. So it's pretty well controlled. I mean, look, no lens is perfect anyway. I've used Oppo lenses. You're still going to get a little bit of that once in a while. So again, it's not any sort of deal breaker to worry about. This lens performs very, very well. There was one thing I noticed taking photographs, and I saw this online at a couple forums, is that it feels a little bit wider than 35mm. At least to me, it felt more like a 32. It just felt wider, and I couldn't put my finger on it. It could just be me, by the way. It may not be the case. Again, these are just what I noticed using the lens, but everybody could be different. Outside of that, though, let's talk about the stepless aperture ring on this, because this is something that's coming into that cinema, photographer's world, and some people will like it and some people won't. It didn't bother me as much as I thought it was going to, Yes, I would love to have a switch on the side of the lens where you could have a clicked aperture and a declicked aperture. I don't know why Canon didn't do that. Maybe they just want to try something different, but there's enough tension on the aperture ring so you don't necessarily knock it out that easily. Can you? Sure. Does it happen? Once in a while. But if you're really concerned about that, you can go to the auto mode. There's an iris switch on the side of the lens. You lock that in place. It's not going to move from there. And then you control the aperture right through the camera. No issues at all. You have the best of both worlds in that situation. The weight of this lens, again, 550 grams, very easy to carry around with you. I was walking around Chinatown here in Singapore for a few hours and I didn't feel the weight on me. It wasn't like a 50-1.2 or an 85-1.2 where you really feel that weight after a period of time. I didn't feel it with this lens at all. If you're into street photography, environmental photography, anything that's going to require a 35mm lens, you're going to enjoy how this feels, especially on an R5 body. In terms of the close focusing, it's 0.28 meters, part and parcel with what we see on a lot of RF lenses out there. And you can put an ND filter on the front or on the rear of the lens. Again, bringing in that video side of the lens into play. I like that. I appreciate that. Because sometimes you can't put an ND filter on the front. Let's say you want to put a CPL on the front. You don't want to stack them. You could put the ND on the back, put a CPL on the front. You're good. Is it a perfect lens? Not necessarily. Some people say there's a little bit of distortion. Did I notice it in photography? Not really, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe ever so slight, but then again, you can correct it in Lightroom and Photoshop, click a button and it's done. These things don't bother me like they would have a few years ago because the way software is enhanced and it's improved over time, and the things that's happening inside of a camera with the lenses, the correction inside, these things are just null and void in my personal opinion. It doesn't make a difference. But overall, I really liked how this lens performs, and I think this is a really good stepping stone for an exciting year for Canon. They've been quieter in 2023 2024 looks like to be a very exciting year for them. Of course, there's some big announcement happening in July based on the rumors I'm seeing out there. Could be an R5 II, could be an R1 that we're finally going to see in person. Who knows? I mean, it's all rumors right now. But if it is, this 35 1.4 is going to come into play beautifully. And I can't wait to see what they have in store. Anyway, guys, those are my thoughts on the 35 1.4 VCM lens. If you find this video helpful or useful, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Definitely helps me out a lot. I'm trying to grow to 100,000 subscribers. I'm a little over 60 right now. Hoping to get there very soon. With your help and support, I would greatly appreciate it. With that, guys, take care, and I'll chat to you soon. Bye.